You know, God is really moving big time in these areas, and you know, yes, there are many parts in Asia that are being touched by God. You know, we're having stadiums in China and all those sort of things. But it was amazing that when I was in November last year, we went with some missionary partners of ours, and we went into the brothels, and I went to 4 brothels to preach and just say hi. And I was on TV to 350 million people in India last year in 1 week. You know, a quarter or a third, whatever that is, of the nation. So I was actually welcomed by all the pimps because they knew who I was. So we went in there, and we came into one of the brothels, and it's not any bigger than this little stage here, and maybe a tiny bit bigger, and this woman on the floor was sitting on a mat. And I came in, and she looked about 85, 90 years old. And my caregiver, Kyle, one of my caregivers, he put me down there next to her, and through a translator, started speaking to her, introduced myself, and gave her a hug. I'm a hugging machine. I gave her a hug, and she looked at me with such intensity, and this love and compassion came over her, and she grabbed me, and she held me, and she didn't want to let go. I started telling her about Jesus Christ, and this woman in a blue dress and with the Hindu mark on her head, she came in and she said, "You talk about Jesus?" I said, "Absolutely." She said, "Then I have a request." I said, "What's that?" She said, "Make my sister walk." She's just pointing to this woman down, and she said, "That's my sister. She hasn't walked for 4 years, and for the last 15 days, she hasn't moved at all off that floor. She's dying." The whole wall was covered from top to bottom, left to right, full of Indian gods, and they worship those gods every day. And so I said, "Jesus, you know I've seen blind people see, I've seen deaf people hearing, I've seen crooked backs come through, legs, you know, evening, skin disease falling off bodies. Make this woman walk. I'm going to start praying that you would do this for you, not for me." She's not really testing my faith. She's testing you and your power. So with that faith, I said, okay. So we got some women to start massaging her legs. We prayed for about 5 minutes, and I said, "Get up and walk in Jesus' name." She had a man on this side, man on this side. She gets up, excruciating pain in her face. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm crazy. I'm putting her through so much pain. And I said, "God, please, please come through with this. What if they don't see it, you know? And they don't give their lives to you, how else will they?" And so she hobbles very painfully from one end to the other, and then comes back, sits in a plastic chair with armrests. And she could move her legs a little bit, but they were all stiff and everything, and she was in a lot of pain. I looked at her sister, and I knew that wasn't a miracle. That wasn't going to convince anybody of anything. So I said, "God, I want to pray more." So we started praying more. 3 minutes later, her physical face changes. She's got this glow and strength that comes across her, and she grabs the armrest and she says, "All right, I'm ready, I'm ready." And I'm like, "No, not yet, we have to pray more." I promise. And so she's like, "I'm ready." I said, "Not yet, not yet." 2 minutes later, I said, "Okay, get up now." She gets up, and she's walking, she's jumping up and down like this. And the sister can't believe it. She goes to the wall of gods, and she puts her hands together, and she says, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you." And I said, "No." I said, "Haven't you been praying to your gods for 4 years that your sister will walk?" She said, "Yes." I said, "That was Jesus Christ."
Yeah.
It turns out that woman that was healed that day was not just any old woman. She was the woman who started that entire block of prostitute houses in Mumbai.
Wow. Isn't that a great story?
Amazing story.
Mighty God. Is God great?
God's working, man.